Hi everyone, and thanks for having me on this podcast. I enjoy being interviewed about my experiences. Lifelong UFO or alien encounters. I'm Tana Yula, and I was reared in northern Norway in a Norwegian indigenous family, like an American Indian family. The Sami live in Norway. Sami people herd reindeer and live in nature, like American indigenous people. When I was 5, I had an experience. My mother, aunt, and I walked at night in cold. The moon was bright and the sky was clear. My aunt asked, "What is that?" As we walked home one night, we observed a saucer or UFO. It was oval-shaped with a smaller oval adjacent to it, almost like a small oval connected to the main one. I said, "Oh, God, look, there are 2 moons in the sky." When I was 4 or 5, I later learned it couldn't be 2 moons. This object radiated light, but not brightly. Though it didn't shine, I couldn't stop staring at it. I felt the thing or light envelop me as I kept looking. While I was mesmerized by the light, I heard my mother and aunt worriedly discussing it, but I was engulfed in the light, experiencing immense love and joy. I felt like my family was coming to get me and take me home since I didn't belong on Earth and my real family was in the stars. I was thrilled they came. I thought, finally, you're coming to pick me up and take me home. That light made me feel loved. However, when my mother and aunt were talking and we were about to go inside, I was interrupted. Since it was above us, I saw the light ascend and travel away. I became terrified or sad. I was crying inside, saying, "No, no, no, don't leave me. Please don't leave me, don't go. I hoped you'd pick me up, but you're leaving." It was heartbreaking. I was 4 or 5, and seeing them leave crushed my heart. I communicated with them telepathically. I suppose they sensed my anguish. They added, "Don't worry. We will come and visit you again, and we will always be with you. We will never leave you, eh?" After that, we walked inside and years passed. In my early teens, I was riveted on the window at night. I always sat outside and looked at the stars. That feeling of waiting for them to pick me up. I asked them, "Why didn't you come? And I really miss you, and I don't belong here. I don't feel I belong here. This is not my real family." I talked to them telepathically by looking up at the sky, but I always felt relieved or comfortable knowing they were there and I was okay. Then Granny, another story. I lived next to my grandma and my mother's house, so she came in. I was sitting with my cousin one night talking UFOs. We were in our early teens, discussing, are there really aliens out there, or I call them extraterrestrials or ETs, but we didn't have that language right then and there. And are there really someone out there, or ETs on other planets with life on and everything? When my grandmother appeared in the living room, my granny was truly indigenous. She never read or watched TV. She couldn't have known about UFOs or ETs. She exclaimed, "What are you talking about?" It actually happened to me as she entered. What? What, mother? What do you mean happened to you?" I got visited by ETs within the UFO when they took me on a trip. I stared at my cousin, who looked at me. We regarded the grandma. I answered, "Grandmother, yeah." I said, "I'm sorry, I couldn't have told you earlier because I was afraid that the family would think I was crazy and they would put me away in a mental hospital or something," said. So she continued this adventure. Finally, she remarked, "I want to talk about it. I want to tell you too about it because you're obviously interested in this topic. Actually extraordinary. It's amazing after years of carrying it." She claimed to be alone in this summer cottage. We had 2 residences and a summer house. She was in a house without roads. Next to the sea, the home and boathouse were there. She was alone at night. Her bedtime was approaching. She said she heard a distinct, powerful voice instructing her to go to the boathouse while sitting on the bed. She said, "What?" I was like, "What? Who?" This voice was so distinct and loud that she couldn't resist. So she said, "Well, I just had to get up and go outside and go down to the boathouse to see what was there." When she came down there, she said she saw a UFO parked next to the boathouse down at the sea, and we were like, "What? What?" She described the UFO perfectly, and we said there's no way my grandmother could have known. She said she was told to go to the spacecraft or UFO, which had a stairway, and they asked her telepathically. Telepathically, my grandmother and the ETs told her to board, and she did. She'd entered this room and said it had great light. The lightness prevented her from seeing how big it was, but she followed the instructions of those who spoke to her and claimed, "I talked to someone on board this craft," although she didn't see anyone. Then they said, "Well, come, step inside, and please have a seat. We will take you on a trip, but don't worry, we will take you back again when we are done," She said, "Oh, and where?" They told me to sit, but there were no chairs. She said, "Okay, I'll just sit down." She said, "Don't. It's amazing." I just sat down. It felt like I was sitting down in just in the room or in the air. There were no chairs. She said she sat down perfectly, was okay, and thought everything was weird. After following the directions, she saw an opening in front of her like a window opening by itself, and she stated she had to go and look, so she did. She saw the house, boathouse, and sea shrinking, and she understood, oh my God, she's moving away. They were taking her elsewhere, and she was apprehensive because she liked cooking. She was the woman. She cooked family meals. She said, "Oh, I'm a bit worried. How am I supposed to eat? And if I'm going on this long trip, how am I supposed to eat and cook, cook food?" He said, "Oh, don't worry. You don't have to. You just, observe and come with us. And don't worry, we will put you back again, take you home." Or, okay, they got her to relax. Still looking away, she saw the home and everything else disappearing and shrinking, Norway as a landscape and the earth as a tennis ball. After seeing the earth as a tennis ball, she stated it was magnificent and stared at it. Not long after that, she was sitting at her bedside again and said, "Oh, they must have brought me back." She was rationalizing with herself that, "I did go outside. I didn't just stay at my bed. I went to, and now I'm back." She said this was an amazing experience and said, "Okay then." I think she went to bed. However, before her experiment, she was frightened of dying. After thinking about it, she was terrified of walking in the dark without a flashlight. However, she always carried a flashlight between houses. She added that following that encounter, she never feared dying or the dark again. The experiment gave her these benefits, like erasing her dread of death and not needing a flashlight in the dark. I recall her usually walking in the dark after that. We couldn't see her arriving, like, "Grandmother, are you coming?" "Yes, I'm coming." And she was black, so she never used the spotlight again. That was a turning point for me when she recounted her experience, because it corroborated what I saw when I was 5 years old and my connection with the stars and extraterrestrials. That was really helpful when I later moved from North Norway to the south and into an apartment in the capital. I had an apartment there, and this encounter tormented me forever. Today is clear as day. When I moved to Oslo in my 20s, I couldn't wait to explore and learn about the phenomena, UFOs, extraterrestrials, and everything. The story my grandmother told us inspired me to pursue researching UFOs and NDEs. I had several adventures in this southern Norwegian flat. Do you want me to discuss some? I've seen many UFOs and lights. They usually let me know when they're there, so I can go outdoors. They blink 3 times to say hello, and they do it often. They heal me and communicate telepathically. They mended my knee and hip in the bedroom. They healed me, and I could see their fingerprints and fingers. I'm seeing them, and I met one. When I went to bed, I felt someone lying next to me and thought, okay, I'll look at it. So I turned around and gazed straight into the big black eyes. I can also see these ET, not aliens, pals. I stared into his eyes. He had brown skin, a wrinkly face, and appeared quite ancient. I recognized him as an old extraterrestrial builder species and was drawn to his eyes. I traveled when I stared into his eyes. This cosmic journey was mine. There were stars, planets, and everything speeding by me, and I felt like he wanted me to portray the cosmos and universe with all its planets, stars, and everything. He took me on a lovely journey. When I met them, I was afraid, but they left because they're respectful. They always announce themselves first. I was afraid the first time, and they left. "Please don't scare me again. You should visit me." After that, I wasn't scared, so they came multiple times to heal me and such. I met them in person and meditated. I see them and conduct trance meditations with them when they appear, and we communicate telepathically. I've also met Sirians, Pleiadians, and Andromedans. I've met numerous people throughout the years, and they visit me. I have photographed orbs and light beings. I photographed them. I put them on my website. I've been seeing blue orbs for 2 or 3 years. When blown, these bubbles look like blue orbs. At first, I could only photograph them. Now I can see them. Just enter the room and fly by. Sometimes one, sometimes 2 or 3, and I say, "Oh, hello. How are you?" They respond. Occasionally they provide telepathic signals about my awareness expansion and occasionally about the world or other people. My recent encounters with these are these, called blues or blue orbs. They are more like scientists visiting Earth to see what's happening and what we're doing. Yes, but they're lovely. I see them. They may stay a week or 2. I see them every day, popping here, popping there, blue light here, and then they leave for weeks and return. I still communicate with them and can finally see them with my eyes as well as in meditation and trance sessions. Also this side, the side of this like the human finger. Yeah, the size no, twice as big, twice as long. Of course, when they came to heal me, that's another story. This interview is too short for all my stories. However, they sometimes appear, and when I saw the fingers, they were twice as long as ours and worked on me. Fingerprints were on my stomach. They were pressing on my tummy, and when I looked down, I saw long fingerprints. However, each time they healed me and performed these treatments, I was paralyzed. A bit paralyzed. It's not sleep paralysis, but I was paralyzed and couldn't move. I was awake, alert, and could move my eyes. I could see what was going in the room. Then they came and did something to disconnect me. Because our bodies react to fear and want to flee, I didn't connect with my body. They had to detach me from my body so they could only access my consciousness and awareness. That was an amazing experience, yet I was never terrified. I understood they had to do that to interact with me. Their operation is fascinating. I can telepathically communicate with them. I can ask them questions in meditation, and they will answer, or when I sleep and dream, they appear. I sometimes don't expect them. They just pop up. When they appear as blue spheres in the room, I think, okay, I can see you now physically. Then I stop and listen. I concentrate and listen. They often have small or large messages for me. They truly grew me spiritually. They helped me extend my consciousness, and I'm grateful. As promised, they are with me and guiding me. However, Pleiadian and Sirian entities sometimes arrive. They modify who comes when. Recently, it's largely Sirians because they're called blues. After asking, "Who are you? Who are you, those blue beings?" They revealed themselves as consciousnesses in blue spheres in trance meditation. I asked, "Can you give me more detail about who you are? What do you look like, and everything?" They transported me straight up, consciously or in consciousness, onto a spaceship, and I could see one of them. Blue is my communication partner. He's humorous, knowledgeable, and always has messages for me. You just have to ask, and we will take you with us and come visit us in our spacecraft, and we can have some discussions. You want to know whether they had any messages regarding so they have sent me personal messages and messages for humanity. Many messages have been given, but the main ones are that we have gotten so alienated from ourselves, humanity, animals, nature, and the earth. They suggest we think about that and take responsibility to reconnect with nature, Mother Earth, animals, and nature. What we are doing currently disconnects us from ourselves, not understanding who we are as powerful human beings, and we end up doing bad things to ourselves, each other, nature, animals, and everything else because we are so lost. We damage the earth, nature, animals, plants, and everything else. They don't want that because we'll pay if we keep doing it. Because what you put out there is what you get, right? It's like doing good brings good. If you do something bad, we must learn the repercussions. They want us to connect with ourselves and grow our consciousness to realize our power. We manifest what we think, feel, and focus on. They wish to guide us like caring elder brothers and sisters. They want us to grow up, have a loving heart, be mindful, and extend our consciousness so we can build a peaceful, harmonious, and balanced world. Because if we don't, we'll destroy everything around us, which is bad. They slowly and consistently encourage us to work within ourselves first. We are who we are. Also, heal deeply inside. Heal ourselves to heal everything and everyone around us, right? That will definitely produce a world of peace, harmony, and balance. We cannot sit here and wait for them, except for guiding us from where they are. They are not coming here to aid us. However, they want us to work and accept responsibility. They also advised us not to. We should use our heart brain, which is smaller than our mental brain, to think for ourselves. When we do, we'll know right from wrong. We must heal ourselves, the animals, people, environment, nature, and earth. It's our duty. They also discussed, we should think for ourselves. We shouldn't trust the current system. The system is broken, the governments are broken, and the people running the system of the world right now should not be trusted. Do not trust them. We need a new lifestyle, system, and governance on a new earth. We should join new heartfelt leaders to rule the earth, people, and everything.